welcome, friends, and very good morning to all of you. And welcome to our BusinessEx Academy web series. So this has been running for now. This is the 11th edition which we are doing, but we have done another 30 editions in past, which was on more for helping businesses to find how they can build value, how they can exit the business, how they can get a right investor in the business, and also how they can scale. So very informed, good information in those series. Also, if you you've not seen that, go on our Facebook page and really visit that. So today's discussion is about really choosing a mentor. Why a business should need a mentor. But before I go there, let me give you a little background about our company. Franchiseindia is a 24-year organization started with purpose of helping on one side businesses to grow through franchising, and on the other side we help investors to make a right decision to start their own business. And today, as we speak, over 24 years, we've helped 10,000 plus brands to really grow through franchising and helped millions of entrepreneurs in realizing their business dream. We also have a separate company which is now doing this webinar, is BusinessEx. BusinessEx was started with the idea to help especially startups and mid-sized companies to find right scale, also connect with them with the right mentors, help them to even get the right kind of investments, which is from angels or VC funds. And we also have a separate vertical in BusinessEx where you're looking to exit the business. We work with you on the right valuation and find you the buyer. Also, I should highlight that we have another company of Franchiseindia, which is called Action Coach. Action is a world's #1 business coaching company. World's #1 business coaching company operates in about 80 countries. So we run Action Coach for India and also for Middle East. So that also is very helpful if some of you are looking for a good business coach who can advise your business to grow and improve. That also is helpful. So this was going to be about 30-odd minute kind of webinar. I'll touch upon the importance of choosing a mentor, how you should choose, and we'll talk about how it is different from business coaching and all the other aspects of mentorship. So use the Q&A box, start asking your questions. I will do this, a talk on maybe about 20-25 minutes, and then maybe later half I can take some of your questions. So we have seen a lot of people really going out and asking for a mentor, especially I think when you are new to business. And today, because I run a largest startup ecosystem in the country, I know a lot of people who get into their startups. It might be going by themselves, which means that their own startup, or they are even taking a franchise. Most of the times they are new to business. Which means that they have never done that business, they have no domain experience, they are following an idea which they want to pursue. So I feel that it becomes kind of important that you have a mentor with you, and that's very, very important. And sometimes we confuse between a coach, somebody who's going to business coach who will come along with you, and also a mentor. Can be similarities. There can be similarities in terms of they both work on your business to grow that. But a mentor is somebody who works on your personal growth. That's very, very important. It actually, the founder's development is done by that. I always say that this coach can become a mentor. Coach can be somebody who can work on both aspects, your enterprise growth and also your personal growth as a founder. It can be done. And similarly, a mentor can also become a coach, provided he would have that kind of a time. He or she would have that kind of a time to participate in your business. Sometimes mentors are somebody who not so deep into your business operations and really don't take that objectivity. They're more working on your personal development and so forth. So you have to, one thing which is very important, and before you even make a decision to really have a mentor with you, you need to be very clear who you want, why you want, what kind of objectivity. It should be always your choice as a founder of the business that you want to choose a right mentor, and who can be this right mentor, and is he available for giving the kind of the role you want for a mentor to perform in your business or your growth, and define that role and see that availability. And sometimes great names cannot be great mentors, and that's true because they're not available. They might be the perceived to be the best, but they might not be available. And I've seen this piece where people are seeking mentors of very, very successful entrepreneurs. These successful entrepreneurs are great when you listen to them on TED Talks and you listen to them on different kind of seminars and webinars and so on and so forth. and you always seek that they might become your mentor, but they might not be the right ones because they might not have the time or availability or sensibility to do that. So one of the important starting point is that mentor has to be somebody who's invested into your success. I will again repeat, the mentor has to be somebody who's invested into your success. That's very important, because if you're not invested into your success, it will never come through, right? And it is a long journey. It's a marathon, right? And it has to be over 3, 4, 5 years of mentorship. It's very, very important. And you have to be really particular that how do you really make that choice and so on and so forth. It's very, very important. And mentor, and a lot of people ask me and say, how do you define a mentor? And what do you really expect from a mentor? And while you can have a lot of expectation, and we'll touch upon that in our program, but I think the simple answer I have found over the time is somebody who can help the quality of your thinking and issues important to you. Somebody who can really bring your thinking level up, right? Somebody who can improve your quality of thinking on issues which are important to you. So sometimes you know your issues. Sometimes entrepreneurs struggle between, always I say, between important and urgent things. There are things which are very important to you, and somebody who can really refine your thinking is somebody who comes with a lot of whys. Why are we doing this, and why not we do this, and why not we take this practice versus this practice, and a lot of that is very, very important. So always, one of the starting points when you're looking for a mentor and say, who can improve my thinking, who can really question me right, somebody who has that ability to really put your focus also on the important things which are very important. But a lot of times we have mentors, and I know a lot of startups who go and claim that I have been mentored by this or that, and most of the time, if you go deeper into that mentoring program, it has not made any impact, or it has failed. So why it fails? Let's talk about that. So one of the areas which I think is fails because it was not well-defined purpose. You just wanted some name to sit. It's like an advisory board. You want to make it fancy. You want to make it big names to sit in that. But really, mentor is not about that. Mentor is absolutely not about that. And that's where it comes from our education practice. It comes from what we do in workplaces. Mentor is somebody who's just around with you, somebody who's always sounding board to you and working with you. It has to have a very strong, well-defined purpose and a measurable objectives. If we not have a measurable objectives, it will eventually not make any sense, right? And if you cannot really do that, and that's why I say they have to be invested into your success. If they're not invested into success, even the greatest minds cannot make any impact on your business. Even the greatest minds, people who have all that what it takes to do that, but they are not invested, so to say, in your entire thing. They can be a good broader guide, perspective on that, but unless and until somebody is getting into very personalized issues which you have in your business, it would not make sense, right? It would not make sense. So there are not also sometimes not a clear criteria of matchmaking of a mentor and a mentee, right? So why they come together? What is the missing point? Both can fill into each other. Both, it is a mentor need also to have a good mentee, because that's if you are a professionally mentoring companies or enterprises or founders, there is some skill set you have which can fit into certain kind of mentees which you need to really do that. So that has to be very, very important. Sometimes they're not prepared. Both sides, you're not prepared. And I've seen that, I've seen sometimes mentees are not prepared in terms of what should be the expectation of that process. And you've not defined that. I would say go out and write 10 pages and say, this is my expectation. This is my expectation, which is very, very important. And for a mentor also to really set some goals in that thing, because you might not try to maybe somebody who has that kind of always available kind of a situation. You need to really do that. So it's just not about ticking the box and say, oh, I'm starting a business and I need a good mentor, and I go out and find somebody who's very known in that industry. I get a lot of requests every single day from franchise industry, because I have such a large 24 years of work in industry, and people would come to me and say, I want to take you as a mentor because I'm doing a franchise startup and I want to take it next level. And I would tell you, out of 100, I would decline 99, not because I'm not interested in that business, but I might not be able to do justice on that. And I've actually recommended a lot of other people who are there, who are much more sensitive, much more available. I might not be available because I have other enterprise to run and might have some conflicting interests also sometimes. So I am very, very choosy. Out of 100, I would only take one where I genuinely feel that I can really contribute, right? In the last 4 or 5 years, I've actually advised about 4 or 5 companies in total. That's what I have done. And I feel that I should do even lesser, maybe take one in a year, or that kind of a structure, which would then justify my time and structure. So it's very, very important that you really have to find out somebody who's doing a meaningful work with you, and working with you. And I call this cycle, if you really see, the cycle is all about why, who, how, what, and when. That's the cycle. This is how everything works in your enterprise. You need to know a lot of whys. Why are you doing it? And this is where mentors are great, because they are good at the why part of it. But when it comes to the next cycle of saying who needs to be there, what kind of resources you need to do that who becomes very difficult for them to participate. Sometimes they have a good say on the why, but they don't have who's going to run that business, who's going to lead this vertical, who's going to run it. So that's not possible for sometimes mentors to do that. And that's where it starts breaking. But I would like a mentor to really participate here also, and then go on to how you have to do that, and then what are the results we are expecting, and then when is the timelines, how you need to follow that entire thing. So if you are somebody who's participating in all the 5 cycles, from why, who, how, and when, how, what, and when, then your cycle is really completed. And sometimes you have to be honest about a mentor you're choosing, how far they can participate in your structure. So it's a very important that it is a combination of what I call the 3 things: a good advisor, a guide who comes with you at every stage, and somebody who can inspire you. That's also very important. Sometimes, and most of the time, people actually take a mentor which is more inspiring. You see them always inspiring. Like in universities, colleges, people would take their teacher as a mentor because they feel that that's very you are inspired by what they do and how they do, and so on and so forth. So, but I feel that this combination of all 3, it needs to be a strong advisor which comes on facts, a guide who really comes with you to create some kind of a day-to-day objectivity, and then work with and continue to inspire you to do a greater work and greater role, and so on and so forth. So that's very, very important. So what is the importance? What is the importance of bringing a good mentor in your business? One is impartial feedback, because sometimes when you are a startup or you are a business owner, you are surrounded by a lot of yes people around you, but you don't get really impartial feedback. That's very, very important. And you need to have somebody who has that kind of relationship with you now as a mentor, that you can expect a lot of criticism, right? So that's something which, again, the founders are not really designed to do. They're not really, they always like a mentor to be somebody who's inspiring, but not really criticizing you. And sometimes it's a fine line. It's a fine line. If you have somebody overtly doing that, that also breaks it. So you really have to see somebody who has ability to give you rational thinking, and but impartial feedback. That's very, very important. Very important part of it. Second is that somebody who has advice, but it's not really personal advice. It's not. This is something which, again, it's a difference between people who are outsider to your business. If you come into me, like I'm now doing this webinar, I'm giving a lot of advice, but I don't understand your business. I don't know who is on the other side, what are the challenges, how they do it. So there are many people like me who are available, who are giving their own experiences, their own knowledge based entire thing, but might not be very practical for your business. So you need to have somebody who has that advice for you, but it is backed by some form of logical data. So a good mentor would ask a lot of data from you and then call you for a good advice, because he's now gone through and giving from your perspective, not from his own experience and peaceful entire thing. And it's not less of emotions, more of logic. Otherwise, it's all about emotions, right? What I feel about it. So that's not you don't have to, as a mentor, you don't have to bring in your own personal experience or agendas or your reference points in life, which you want to really over reflect on your mentee. That's not going to be the right thing. And experiences which you want to share, but it has to be unbiased. Something might have not worked in my career, but might work for your mentee, right? So unless and until we really look at from that perspective, sometimes some mentors have very strong viewpoint on few things, and they are not great listeners. They are not people who are acceptable to fresher ideas, and they just block in that sense. And And that also doesn't work, because eventually businesses would evolve and go to the next level, and they need to have breathing. They need to really get some fresh air and to understand fresh ideas. And that's where a mentor should be somebody who has that ability. So that's where he will be able to bring in what I call the honest and a fresh perspective to thinking. So that's very important aspect of when are you looking to do that. I see about two types of mentors in you need to choose. One is very clearly subject matter experts, people who have very clearly your domain experience, right? And this is where most of the people would choose a mentor, right? So if I was in building up a supply chain startup, I need to find somebody who's great in that domain, and especially somebody who has over the years and connect me with the dots in that industry. And that's very, very important. And that's what I think large part of a mentor exercise would be. But the other part would be that you have somebody who has a larger management capability or a leadership or a management leadership capabilities and more entrepreneurial experience. So somebody who's run and build large businesses can really come and mentor a young founder to really, when he's starting the journey, say I built the startup and at different stages I raised money, I found my exit. So I have a full cycle done. So I know at what stage. And a lot of, if you really see successful founders who build large businesses, have all become mentors, and they are really bringing their business acumen, so to say, of a life journey of a business bringing in. I would still feel that a startup should choose domain experts rather than going there. This is good. Another thing which is very important, and you have to all understand that mentors, you need different mentors, different stages, and they somebody like it or don't like it, but they get outdated. Sometimes you have a great mentor at a certain stage in the business, but would outdate himself. You might not be able to value add more than that. So you really have to also see what stage you are in your business and how you want to really choose a mentor. So for me, a mentor, if I have to define what is my expectation from a mentor, and this is pretty much my rule, I call the NICE rule, NICE. One, N stands for network. I want to have somebody who can open his network, who can really help me connect with few things and so on. So that something to me is the best. One of the companies I was advising, and he wanted me to really have a mentor, somebody, and I said, go out and have somebody, and I had actually recommended who can open up doors for you. At this stage, you don't need somebody who just comes and gives you advice, but you need a lot of connects, because your business is such that you need to connect a lot of people, and you need to have somebody who's a super connector. Super connector doesn't shy away, goes out and opens up a lot of relationships with you, can go out and write 100 mails for you and use his own credibility and say, this is a great a founder I'm connecting. And sometimes he's shameless of doing that connection for you. So that to me is the first N. I stands for informed decision making, which sets accountability. That's very, very important. So N stands for network. I stands for informed decision making. Very clearly, constantly question, why are we doing this versus the plan B, right? So why are we doing this? That's very, very important. And third, C stands for credibility. Brings in a lot of credibility for you to really, add a lot of value. Say if you have a good mentor, even for hiring a talent, if somebody is available with you, it gives a lot of credibility for that founder or a business to really even attract the right talent. Because the biggest problem actually for founders is not the great business idea or not to create capital. It's all about today, most biggest difficulty is to get the right talent. And that's the biggest problem. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem going forward, that how do you get a good talent in the entire thing. And E stands for the final part, is the encouragement. You get this kick, especially when you are early stage, you almost every day losing. You're losing every day. You need to have somebody who's consistently giving you encouragement to go to the next level. So it's a nice theory, NICE, network, informed decision making, credibility, and encouragement, which is important. Now, when I really look at these four, I think the three are very obvious, you get it. But one thing which is most missing in mentors, I think, is the I. Because I is missing, which means that they are not really participating in day-to-day in your business. They don't really are involved in your decision making. So hence, there's no accountability. So rest, everything at a certain stage starts losing its is ability. No more you have a network to continue to give that, so it's not no more value adding. Similarly, your credibility I've used, that's great. Business has reached to a certain level. Maybe it's not value adding anymore. And also encouragement. Now the business has taken off, is not enticing. So really speaking, out of the nice, if you really take the I out, after some time, it would not make any sense. So after a few years, it would not be. So if you really want to be somebody who wants to be a top class mentor, you need to focus on the I. That's very, very important, because if you are participating in value adding in a constant way, then only this would need to do and create value. So now let's talk about 6 different reasons why mentors can help you transform your business and build your entire. Obviously, the first point is it makes faster learning. That's absolutely one of the points that everybody starts a mentoring program, because it just really fastens your learning structure, because you need to really go into the market faster, and your learning curve is great, and you have also lesser risk. Second, as I said, it really helps you refine your strategy. It's very, very important. It really continue to refine and sharpen your strategy, and continue to bring your focus and question your actions. That's third point. Very importantly, question your actions is something which you always need somebody who comes and questions every action. Why you did this versus this? Why are we spending so much on marketing? Why are we not doing this? Why are we taking this as a channel strategy, and why not this entire? So this is something which really is important, and sometimes founders are not used to the idea of somebody being questioning that, because they have employees and investors are outsiders, and the investors also question. Sometimes good investors can also be good mentors, provided they have time and they are not biased from their investment viewpoint. So you have to really see sometimes good investors in the business can become good mentors, but sometimes because your investment is riding, you are sometimes extremely biased towards your investment, and you really don't really look at from a larger holistic viewpoint in the success of the founder. What is right for the founder, right? So sometimes you push him to the decisions which is right for your investment, but maybe not really at that stage good for that founder. So I always take back the situation. The mentor has to be somebody who's invested into your success as a founder. That's extremely, extremely important. The next thing is helps you build your acumen, business acumen, especially financial acumen. This is where founders really lack, because at different stages when you started, say you are a 24-year young startup, you don't have those acumens which are very importantly required. And if you have a good mentor along with you, would really be able to do that. The fifth point is somebody who would question or boost your emotional intelligence, right? That's very, very important. In the journey of your building up your business, you almost drained emotionally, and your emotional intelligence has to really come back and be right. And also the final point, which is sixth point, is how do they craft your strategy from investment to exit? This is a life journey of a business, right? Somebody who's along with you to really design a journey which starts with investment, which is a very different approach, where you are taking the business to commercial success, and then sustainability, then growth cycle, then scale, and then exit. Like, so if you really see this whole spectrum, somebody is with you in that piece. And that would come with the next piece, is that somebody who's able to build two very important aspects in your business. And this is one of the areas which I would really question and say, if I want to have a mentor, it's great that I'm getting advice, and great somebody who has a sounding board, great credibility and all this nice point which I've told. But the real thing is that if somebody can deliver two things to my business, one is set accountability at every level, and second is draw processes, organizational design, and so forth. Sometimes because you've not seen all that, it's very difficult for a founder or a entrepreneur to really draw all that, how the business would look like 3 years from now, and so on and so forth. How you really put your foundational blocks to do that. If some mentor can come and do that part for you, that becomes a very, very important aspect. So summarizing this whole discussion, the 5 things which are very important for a great mentor is obviously industry knowledge. I would choose the SME versus somebody who's just generally done that. That's my viewpoint, but this also works. But I would always look at somebody who has certain amount of domain experience in my industry, and somebody who has done and contributed in that. So that's very important to me. I would rather put 80% of this here and very only look at somebody who's just entrepreneurial success on 20%. That's not sometimes great entrepreneurs, great mentors. Second is what kind of a value addition they can really bring in your entrepreneurial skills. That's very, very important. Obviously has to be a super connector, somebody you can really build a great chemistry. That's also very important, because sometimes you have a great mentor around, but you don't build a chemistry. You don't go through, this doesn't go across, and it doesn't build that. And somebody who's also what I call a visionary and a problem solver, somebody who can always help you solve a problem, because you will always stuck with some answers which you don't have. But somebody who has ability to understand and bring, again, starting point was somebody who can draw your thinking to important points, somebody who can continue to draw your thinking and build your thinking to very, very important points. So it is now the final point would be that when you choose a mentor, create not only somebody who's trying to help you for a larger goodwill. That's not good, and that's not lasting. Define the relationship with the mentor, and this relationship can be a fee based, which means that somebody will charge you a certain fee. Define that objectivity, why you want to have a mentor and what kind of relationship you want to do that, and set the expectations right. What do you expect from that? And second, sometimes it is about small equity. Now that's something which one has to really understand. Do you are really looking for giving equity, or you would like to limit it only by a fee? But always have a mentor which has some vested interest also with you to make you successful. Otherwise it will not last. Sometimes you really reach out to people and they have a relationship with you, and just because sometimes people, mentors also get a kick, right? So they get a kick that, look, people are asking me to mentor them, so I want to really go down. It's like a fancy title to have, but they don't really contribute so much. They just help you entire thing, unless and until somebody is deep down involved in your business. So this was something which I wanted to share today. This is a 30-minute webinar. It's on mentorship. So Sonali, if you have any questions quickly for me, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Sure. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir, for another wonderful session and for sharing all your insights with us. We do have quite a few questions already lined up with us, so I'll just quickly take up each of them. The first question is, should a mentor always be someone who's an industry specific person like tech or sales, etc., or should he be a general advisor?
So as I said, I would prefer always industry specialization. Not that I would say general advisor would not be able to do that. But go back, why are you taking a mentor? You need to have somebody who can connect. So if I'm from your industry, I would be able to connect right people. Second, why are you taking this? Because it shortens your learning curve. So if I'm from an industry, I can really get you that piece. So by and large, I would like to see a mentor from that industry itself, and that would be my safer advice. But there are people who are very successful entrepreneurial journey. Sometimes they have done public life, and very, very good public life, very large. I've seen now a lot of IS officers and IPS retiring and not taking any other role, but they're mentoring businesses, and they are great mentors because they have seen strong public lives and come from very strong accountability, and have very strong professionalism. They also are people who are mentoring businesses.
Right. The next question I would like to take up is asking an honest question here. We are doing good with our startup and don't really need a mentor right at this moment. But we feel it is rather important to have a senior renowned mentor on board as a board member since it creates a brand name. Should that really matter that much? As you yourself said, that a real mentor is not just about big names and should really just be invested in yourself.
So sure. So don't confuse between your board of advisors or your board itself. If you really want to have somebody who sits on your board and really adds on anything, expand your board and get a person who can really open some doors for you, and somebody who can value add on your decision making, but may not be qualified for a mentor, right? So and as I said, mentors also get outdated. you're good at to certain extent, and you're not good at it. Like, for example, I'm kind of a specialist to take a business idea from here to a certain stage, but I want to leave it at that level, because after that there is another stage, which is scale and going into that thing, and that's where I don't specialize. So I have always taken businesses from a pretty ground level to come down to a certain size where they're commercially successful, and so that's my specialization. I've never taken any responsibility beyond that, and that's where I've realized that I'm best at. So everybody has to, a person has to really realize that what you're good at, and mentors also have their limitations. They are sometimes not really who can participate at all levels. So if you really see and you're honest that you don't need a mentor at this moment, don't have it. Maybe expand your board, and at this stage you're more looking for credibility to the outside world, that who is part of you, and you might like to have a good board.
Absolutely. The next question I would like to take up is how to reach out to you for being a mentor in my startup company. I love the series and feel like I'm directly talking to a mentor. It would be absolutely great to have your advice in real life as well.
Sure, I would. As I said, I'm not taking, and I'm very honest about it. I'm not taking any exercise, because I feel that's because of my time availability and other things, I might not be able to do justice. It's different when you share knowledge, because I've been 28 years in the business and worked with thousands of brands. So obviously I have a lot to share. That I'm doing through these series which Sonali arrives. But you write to me, I will certainly pass it to somebody who do justice to it, and then maybe make a right choice of who you want to be taking as a mentor doing it. I only want to mentor if there is an opportunity in franchise, scaling of franchise, but that also I take maybe one client maximum, and if I have that time. At this stage, because of this COVID, we are again scaling up, so my time is totally involved in my own enterprise built up and things that, so I'm not taking any assignment for pardon for this, but I will certainly link you with somebody who's in that. BusinessEx does that. BusinessEx actually does advise. Like, my wife is actually editor of Entrepreneur magazine. She runs a very big ecosystem, so she is doing a lot of mentoring on direct to consumer businesses. But that's her part of it. But I personally am not taking any thing on that.
This leads me to the next question, which was, does BusinessEx help startups to find good industry expert mentors?
Yep. So we are exchange, so to say. It's a business exchange. It helps you connect with investors, mentors, coaches, business coaches. Sometimes you need a coach. Actually, you're not needing a mentor. You need somebody who can work on your enterprise and produce results. So we have fantastic coaches. I have 50 coaches in India, top class coaches who work on different domains. And one of my coaches, technology based businesses. Somebody is distribution and that. These are all like C-level professionals who worked in industry for 25, 30 years and under our action coach. So I can link you with any of the coach if you are looking for some help in your enterprise side. You want to really look at your business scalability, sustainability, innovation. Any of these pieces are part of that. Yeah.
Right. And another question, which is not directly related to the topic, but the question says, according to you, what would be the growth opportunity of FMCG sector in terms of exploration of business in foreign countries?
FMCG, Indian FMCG story for foreign countries. That's what the question is, if I'm understanding.
Yes, growth opportunity of the FMCG sector in terms of exploration of business in foreign countries. So the scope in foreign countries.
So FMCG is obviously, I would say, rather than foreign companies in India, is itself a very big opportunity. But from India, any FMCG can do, which is natural products, organic products, because India is looked at from that perspective. So like French was looked at very differently from a product viewpoint. They're very high on beauty quotient, very high on cosmetic quotient, and so on. For India is looked at natural life, this whole yoga thing from India and natural. So we have good companies like Himalaya is a great example, been very, very successful internationally. I think now Khadi is doing a lot of work internationally. I know Organic India is doing a lot of work in exports and international. So India has an opportunity, but we've really not exploited. Only company which I think has reasonably done well is Himalaya.
Right. The next question is how to associate as a mentor in your group with knowledge provisions and the facilities.
So how do you? So I didn't get your question. Sorry.
How to associate as a mentor in our group.
In our group, if you want to be a mentor, yeah, absolutely, most welcome, very welcome, and please share your domain, what you really specialize on, and then we can connect you with a lot of startups who need help, and then you can work out between you. We have nothing to do with that. We will link you with the startups or founders to work with them, and how you want to structure your fee or a equity structure, that's up to you and the founder. We don't participate in that.
And on similar lines, another question is, do you have any curated training for business coaches?
Yeah, we have world-class training for business coaching. We are number one in business coaching. As I said, Action is part of Franchiseindia. Action is the world's number one business coaching company. We have a very strong focus on business coaching in India, and I'm also starting a 25 episode series myself on business coaching, and talk about different aspects, more designed to coach people. It's like a group coaching kind of a structure. I'm taking an approach because, again, issue is that I get a lot of request of people help asking me to coach, but I don't have time. So I thought that I will probably put 1 hour every month and do a bit of a group coaching, and that's what. And this I do it for my own satisfaction. Actually, if you really ask me, I do these webinars and seminars which are absolutely free, and I don't want to charge anything because it's my own satisfaction. It's all my own satisfaction to go and share whatever I've learned in the business.
Absolutely. So this was all for the Q&A session. We have queries from people who are asking about if you can share links about Action Coach, or if how they can know more about it. So if you would just like to share your email ID there.
Sure, I will share my email ID. Just write to me. Then I will put you with my leadership team at Action Coach. It's a gentleman called Satyam, and he can be. But I will put my email ID for all of you, and also my number. If you want to really connect on anything which you feel we can be helpful in through Franchiseindia Group, we will be more than happy to discuss that. So it's 98102443330. Simple to remember. Send me a little WhatsApp and give me a few hours, and I'll certainly come back to you. Yeah.
And
thank you very much.
Gaurav,
thank you very much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful session as always, and for very patiently answering all of our questions. And thank you to all our attendees. We really hope we were able to add some value to your lives through this session. And as Gaurav sir said, if you have any queries, any questions that you would like to ask him, or anything you want to know about BusinessEx, you can always reach out to me as well. And if you also want a recording of this session, I'll be happy to provide the same to you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. with another episode in this series of BX Academy, Business Excellence, Mentoring and Coaching. Thank you.
Thank you.